This is a changing world. We must be prepared to change with it. When Paul Harris, founder of Rotary, said in the 1930s that the story of Rotary would have to be written again and again, leading on from the seminal insight, he could not have imagined the extent to which the world would need to be resilient in the decades that followed. We have been required to face adversity, trauma, and tragedy, from a world war just a few years later to the rampant spread of COVID-19, which is the latest shift to impact every generation. All of us remember 9/11, where we were when we heard the news, who we were with, the first person we called. Equally, I remember when I heard the first case of COVID had reached African shores, and how I felt without knowing what was to come. Like many of you, my somatic marker said run, my survival instincts kicked in, and without taking a breath, I'm still running that marathon today, not knowing where it will take me. No matter who you are or where you are right now, our shared experience as human beings is that of uncertainty, stress, and unpredictability. We have had to give up our rights and freedoms to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. Those very rights and freedoms that our forefathers worked so hard to enshrine in constitutions across the continent, the world, in fact. Our freedom of movement so completely constrained, it's hard not to feel like a caged lioness at times. And as we look for a clear path amidst the uncertainty foisted upon us in this changing world, to which Harris referred way back in the 1930s, almost 100 years ago, we have been forced, sometimes kicking and screaming, to change. Those among us who would not have dreamed of connection across cyberspace today sit eager to meet with old and new friends on this wonderful platform provided to us by Rotary Africa Centennial. And we, as African brand architects, are proud to be associated with an organization that has always embodied change through truth, fairness, goodwill, friendship, and benefits for all. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Jambo, Sanibonani, Ekaro, Kedu, Tarias, Hessi, Molo, Bon dia, Bonjour, Assalamu alaikum. No matter where you find yourself on the African continent or in our beautiful world today. Don't you love our diversity? But perhaps the most exciting change beyond our ubiquitous willingness to connect online, even by the most Luddite amongst us, is that shifting lens from self to the service above self. A mantra by which Rotarians live every day. The superheroes of our new normal are those who have rushed to the front lines to care for their communities. The nurses, carers, doctors, essential services. And not the celebrities, politicians, and VIPs who in ordinary times would have been put on a pedestal, racked up those Instagram likes, and fawned over on the red carpet. The people who care for others as a career are quite literally those we pay tribute to. They have been conspicuous in their modesty, and yet we revere them and how they continue to show up without the promise of social media praise. It is their courage and selflessness we admire and which inspires us to make those necessary changes, to adapt and be resilient despite all the hard knocks we've experienced this past year. By being themselves, by being authentic, they win our hearts and minds. And while we crave solidarity, community, and collaboration, most of all, we crave humanity. Amidst the uncertainty we as humans face today, we look to brands like Rotary to be human themselves, to show us they share our values of safety, well-being, connection, and sustainability, to demonstrate in actions, not words, that they are authentic in their desire to help others and to make a meaningful difference, like those superheroes on the front line we celebrate every day. As a brand, Rotary has lived and breathed these values since its inception. A consequence of the application of these values is the complete eradication of the polio virus on the African continent. Each of us here today have relationships with brands, just like we do with people, built on trust, reputation, and affiliation. I am part of your tribe, and as much as I belong to you, you belong to me. And in this new reality, we look to brands, we demand that brands focus on service above self to garner our attention, our support, and advocacy. We believe it is fair and proper for brands to adapt to our changing reality, the values we hold dear, and our needs, not the other way around. And we expect their investment to be authentic, voting with our feet to recommend them when they're not in the room, so that others with the same shared values may benefit from that authentic relationship. There is no easy way to become more resilient, but resilience itself is one of the most important characteristics that any one of us can possess right now to determine our capacity to serve others above self. And being built to serve, delivering that win-win value exchange between brands and the people they serve has to be a critical factor in the success of your organization in our new reality. You will hear from much more eloquent speakers than I on the captivating work that is happening on the African continent during this exciting Rotary Africa Centennial. From insights into a greener Africa with Eliane Wanjiku, East Africa's youngest climate change ambassador, to how Africa can emerge stronger after the COVID-19 pandemic by Dr. Nkosana Moyo, the Executive Director for the Mandela Institute for Development Studies. I have had the privilege to interview both as part of African Brand Architect Stories on the incredible work being done on our home continent, a task we relish doing on behalf of brands across Africa. As a collective of marketing and communications professionals in Africa, African brand architects are passionate about using marketing, communications, PR, and reputation management to shine a lens on the creativity, credibility, and excellence on our continent. The Rotary Africa Centennial is a communion of those creative, credible, and excellent stories. And the alignment with Rotary, not just during the event, but beyond, based on our shared values, is incredibly exciting for us. We are looking forward to cultivating meaningful relationships with this community of change makers who are gathering here, albeit online, over the next few days. We are connected in our core set of values, our North Star, of service above self, of an innovative African approach that guides the change we need to remain resilient, to navigate uncertain times, and build back better for more prosperous days. We want to tell those stories on behalf of brands, for Africans, and from Africa. In this Rotary Africa Centennial Room, we celebrate your resilience, creativity, and sheer tenacity to stay on your feet, take a step back, and look for interesting and innovative ways to rise to the top together in a way that only a continent that has had to grapple with so many challenges can. Within constraint comes that opportunity for creativity. What a joy it is for African brand architects to be the proud headline sponsors of the Rotary Africa Centennial event. We look forward to engaging with you as we forge partnerships, friendships, and look ahead with that characteristic African ingenuity and optimism to another 100 successful years on the African continent. I thank you.